Good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 67 of My Yarny Corner. My name's Alex and I live in Yorkshire in the UK, and I've just remembered I've got my glasses on. I need to take them off because they reflect so badly. Anyway, this is a podcast all about knitting and crochet. So today is the 28th of December. We've had Christmas and we're now heading on towards the new year. It's really early. It's only 8:30 in the morning. Everybody's still in bed. I've been up really early, so I thought I'd come on and take the opportunity to film my podcast. The light's shocking. I was going to film yesterday, but it just didn't get light all day, and today is the same. So if I can't fix the lighting in editing, I just apologise. There's nothing I can do. I've got two huge lights on and it is still so dark. So I'm going to do my best in editing. You can lighten it up a little bit, so I'm hoping it will be fine once I get to that stage. But how have we all been? Have you had a lovely Christmas? I hope you all have, and I hope that you got lots of crafty goodies or at least some knitting time in. We had a fabulous Christmas. It was just amazing. It really was. And I'm pleased. I love Christmas. It's my favourite time of the year. I get so excited. But I also love just as much that period after Christmas where everything's winding back down and you can start looking forward to the new year. And I just love that period as well. So I'm just so relaxed. I shouldn't be, because I've got a lot to do today. We've had a good couple of weeks off, if I'm lying, 3 if I'm being honest, off work. We've done nothing. December's a really quiet month for us, and we take the opportunity in December to do as little work as we can possibly get away with, because throughout the year we are so busy. We don't get a lot of time off. So December, with it being a quiet month, we just take that opportunity to have a real recharge. So today is the day where I need to get back on with some work. I did do a little bit yesterday, but not over much, but I need to get back on with work today. So I'm going to get this podcast filmed. I'm going to sit and chat with all you guys, and then I'm going to start some work for the day. But anyway, I'm digressing already. Anything that I talk about will be linked in the description box below, and I'll try and put pictures on the screen where I can as well. So I don't know what to start with, because I've got some really exciting news, and I think I need to start with that because otherwise there's going to be a spoiler. So I think I'm going to start with the exciting news. I'm also going to show you what I got for Christmas. I'm not going to show everything. I was so spoiled. I got an awful lot of yarn at Christmas. I will talk about that in a little bit, but I can't show you it all because there was such a lot. Yeah, and then we're going to go into I think I've got a couple of finished objects and then what I'm working on now. So, can we just start with the exciting news? Oh, my word. No words. So, on Christmas Eve, Danny did propose. Look, isn't it beautiful? If you can hear that noise, that's Polly. And now Jack wants to come in. But look, yeah, me and Danny got engaged. How lovely is my ring? I absolutely love it. I don't know if you can tell, but it's actually a little love heart. So you can tell it's there. Isn't it beautiful? So yeah, Danny and I got engaged, and yeah, I'm just over the moon, absolutely over the moon. So that is my exciting news. I did put it into the Facebook group, and thank you all for the lovely comments. For those of you that are in the Facebook group, I was just so shocked. He did it on Christmas Eve. He had planned to do it on Christmas Day, apparently. Everybody knew but me. So he'd already asked the boys weeks ago, so they all knew. But he was saying he planned to do it on Christmas Day. He was going to get up early and we were going to go to the bridge where we met. But we had the most awful weather. It was horrendous. We've had Storm Pia, and then there was another one yesterday. I can't remember what it was called. And it is just, we're actually starting to flood now. There's floods everywhere. We had just had the most awful weather over Christmas. That is Polly. She's got a box in the kitchen and she keeps messing about with it. And that's what you can hear. Anyway, so he'd had to change his plans at the last minute, so he decided to do it on Christmas Eve, which I think is the most special time. I really do. So yeah, Danny and I got engaged. I'm absolutely over the moon. There are no plans yet to set a date or anything like that. We're going to take our time and plan it properly how we want it to be. So yeah, so pleased. So that happened, and yeah, Jack wants to come in. Just 1 second. I have noticed that these first sort of 10 minutes of the podcast are always filled with animals in and out. No matter how many times I make sure before I press record that all the animals are settled and there's not going to be any disturbances, there's always one cat. Always one cat. Goodness me. Right, so I think what I'll do is gifts at the end. So if you don't want to stick around and see what I got for Christmas, then that's absolutely fine. There is a couple of admin-y things I want to mention first. I'm just trying to put my book and rest it on there. We have birthday bonanza starting on the 9th of January. If you're new here, birthday bonanza is something that we do every year, and we run it for 7 days. So it starts on the 9th of January and it ends on the 16th. It's called Birthday Bonanza because Finlay has a birthday on the 6th of January. I have a birthday on the 9th of January. The podcast has its birthday on the 11th of January and Danny has a birthday on the 16th. So we've got a lot going on, and we decided that we would share those celebrations with all you guys. It's a very busy time for us with all the birthdays. So we like to make it a little bit more special and share it with everybody else and lift the post-Christmas blues a little bit. So we do 7 vlogs over 7 days, and each of those vlogs have a giveaway on it. So there are 7 giveaways throughout Birthday Bonanza. It's a really fun time, and yeah, it's just something after Christmas when everyone's feeling a little bit flat and the January blues have kicked in. Come over and join us for Birthday Bonanza. It's always a lot of fun. So yeah, that's the first thing I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about is the giveaway that I mentioned I drew winners for last time, I think it was. They're all parcelled up and ready to go. I'm just waiting until after all this rush is out of the way, and then I will post them. I did mention that at the time that I wanted to post after Christmas. So many parcels have gone missing over Christmas, and I'm so pleased that I was so lucky. None of my parcels went missing, and I just don't want anything caught up in it. So as soon as the new year hits, I will post all the giveaway prizes. They are all packaged and ready to go, but I'm just waiting for those. And the third admin thing is I am running a make-along with my friends Sue and Liz at Distant Stitches and Benta of Arctic Crafts, and we are running a Shop Your Stash make-along. It runs for the entire year. The only rules to take part in the make-along are that you have to use at least 50% of stash that was in your stash before the 1st of January 2024. You can do anything you like, sew, knit, crochet, weave, anything at all. You don't have to finish anything, but just take part and use your stash and join in our little make-along. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's something that I really need to do. That is my plan this year, to shop my stash. I'll pop the hashtag on the screen. It is an Instagram only entry because there are so many of us. There's obviously me and Danny, Benta and Sue and Liz all taking part. I was chatting with Sue last night and we just felt it would be a little bit complicated to be having all individual entries because we are going to draw random prizes throughout the year. So for us all to be using our own Ravelry or emails or one thing and another, it's going to get complicated. So one place for the entries, which is Instagram. It's absolutely fine. If you don't use Instagram, it's not a problem at all. If you don't use Instagram and you want to take part, you can send me an email with your entry and I will add it to the Instagram hashtag, or you can send Sue and Liz an email and they'll add it to the Instagram hashtag, or you can send Benta an email and she will add it to the Instagram hashtag. So even if you don't use Instagram, it's not a problem at all. We can add it to the hashtag for you. It just makes it much easier for us drawing prizes when all the entries are in one place. And it's less confusing for you guys as well because there are 3 of us running it. But yeah, it's a year-long make-along, and I feel so privileged to be doing it with Benta and Sue and Liz. I really do, because it's just nice. Obviously, Benta's in Norway, Sue and Liz are in Canada, and it's nice that we can do something where we can all come together and give some amazing prizes. So yeah, Shop Your Stash Mal 2024. The hashtag will be on the screen, and that starts on the 1st of January and runs right through till the 31st of December. I'll be using it a lot. Not that I'm eligible for prizes, because I'm not. But yeah, I think that's the last admin-y thing. Oh, and I did just want to say as well, 10 minutes, I've not even talked about knitting yet. I did just want to say thank you so much for all the fabulous feedback for the advent calendar. We had such a blast designing the advent calendar this year. For those of you that don't know about the advent calendar that we did, it was the wildlife advent, and we used wildlife from around the world, and we used inspiration pictures to make each of the days of advent. And then what I did during December was put a short on YouTube every single day during December, showing the yarn and the inspiration picture behind it. It was absolutely brilliant, and we had some lovely feedback. I know a few of you were trying to guess the animals. A lot of you got them right, and there were a few guesses, and I thought, oh, why didn't I do that? But yeah, we had an absolute blast designing it. I'm so pleased that you all enjoyed it. I can show you all the colours because I have a finished object. But yeah, so for next year's advent, I'm not going to talk about it too much now. Not until next year. We've only just got this advent over, but next year's advent is all planned. But I will be talking about that closer to the time. Right. So I think that is it for all the admin-y things. Whoops-a-daisy. So we'll get into knitting finally. 12 minutes and 19 seconds into the podcast, we'll talk about some knitting. Right, I do have 2 finished objects. The first finished object, I'm going to have to pop a picture on the screen because it is the socks that I was working on last time. I did finish them, and obviously in true Alex style, I wore them straight away and they are now in the wash. But I absolutely loved them. I've also used up all of the yarn because I've popped it into granny squares as well, which I'll be talking about in a little bit. But yeah, I absolutely loved those socks. It was just my standard vanilla sock recipe. I now do 20 rounds of ribbon for the cuff. I much prefer 20 rounds of ribbon at the moment. So there's 20 rounds of 2x2 ribbon, and I think I did a 47 round leg. I remember it being very specific because I was trying to end the pattern at a certain point. So it's a 47 round leg and then 56 rounds for the foot. A shadow wrap heel and a standard, I think it's a wedge toe. I never know what the toe's called. It's just the toe that I always do. I've tried a couple of other toes on socks, but I always go back to that one. I just prefer it. It doesn't annoy my toes. I've tried, is it the umbrella toe? And I found it quite uncomfortable. Everybody's different, aren't they? It depends on your toe structure. But I just like that toe, so that's the one that I use. And yeah, so I'm really pleased they're finished. And I've got a lot of socks now. So this year I want to concentrate. I know I said last year. I know I did. And I did. But this year I want to concentrate more on socks for Danny, which I did last year. I made Danny a lot of pairs of socks last year. I think he got 12 or 14 pairs by the end of the year. But I certainly do not need any socks at the moment. So I'm going to concentrate more on Danny, but we'll see how that goes because I just love knitting socks. It's one of those projects where you get more or less instant satisfaction. Is that the word? Gratification, satisfaction? I don't know. They're so quick to make, and you get the nice yarn and you think, oh, how's it going to knit up? And you get it into a pair of socks, and within a week you've got a new pair of socks that you're absolutely in love with. And yeah, I just love knitting socks. But yeah, I'm not saying I'm not gonna knit socks for myself this year, because I absolutely am. There is no way I'm not gonna knit at least one pair of socks for myself every 2 months. There is no way. I knit a pair of socks every month, every single month. I just want to make more for Danny this time than myself. But I did say that last year. Last year I did the year of socks for Danny, and the aim of that was to make Danny a pair of socks every single month. And I did for the most part. I think I sort of went off the boil a bit in October, and it sort of dwindled a little bit, but I did make him a lot of pairs of socks. And I designed a few pairs of socks as well. And I designed them for Danny. So yeah, he did all right. Why am I trying to justify how many socks I make? What does it matter? I like making socks, so I'll make socks. Right, the next finished object. So put your coffee down, Alex. Stop sitting and drinking coffee. I just like chatting with you all. It's been so long since I've been able to sit and podcast, and the house is so quiet. Everybody's in bed, so it's just us. It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. Anyway, so Advent project. Right, I had a complete U-turn. I did mention it on my last podcast. Just before Advent, I knew what I was making all the way through. I was so smug. I was thinking everybody's running around trying to choose their Advent projects. I know what I'm doing. I was really, really smug, and then did a complete U-turn. I think it was the day before Advent, or 2 days before Advent started. But you know what? It was just the perfect project for me. So it's the Mystery Shawl Knit Along by the lovely Renee Strauss. And this is the shawl. Right, I'm going to have to stand back a little bit because it's a really big shawl. Oh, here we go. So this is it. Isn't it gorgeous? Now this shawl comes in 2 sizes. It's got an I-cord edge all the way around. Oh, I'm cold now I've taken it off. Let me pop it back on because I'm cold now. It comes in 2 sizes, so you can do it with a 20-gram advent calendar. Oh, I'm not in the right position now. Hang on. There we go. A 20-gram advent calendar or a 10-gram advent calendar. There were quite a number of us knitting this in the Facebook group. I had posted it in the Facebook group when I got the pattern because it was free until midnight on the 30th of November. You can buy the pattern as a full PDF now if you want to make it, and I cannot recommend this pattern enough. I really cannot recommend this pattern enough. What I loved about it was its garter stitch. So it's unbelievably squishy. There is nothing difficult in it at all. So it started here. This is day 1. This is day 2, I think. Yeah, and this is day 3. And you need 2 needles of the same size, a longer one and a shorter one. Now, when I first started the pattern, I was kind of just thinking, oh, I can put stitches on hold and just use 1 needle. By day 4, I'd realised it is really beneficial to have the 2 needles because you're using alternate needles each day. So I ended up using 2 needles. I used one with a long tip and one with a short tip. So when she said long needle, I used the long tip, and short tip, I used the short tip needle. Now, I'm making that sound complicated. It really isn't. Each day, you sort of, after this one day you'll go this way, the other day you'll go this way, then you'll go back to going across and then vertical. It's very, very obvious where you need to be on each day or for each part of the pattern. The I-cord is already knitting. There's no going round and picking up stitches. It's already knitting. And it was just so easy, so relaxing. I kept up with this every single day. I had no problem keeping up with it because I enjoyed it so much. 20 grams is a lot to knit in a day, I think. And I'd done it every single day. This was done by 3:30 at the latest. I didn't do much else during Vlogmas. We were busy doing, you know, family stuff and one thing and another, but I had a lot of time to knit, but it was done in the afternoon every single day. Like I say, nothing tricky at all. Even picking up the stitches is really, really easy because you're just picking up through garter bumps. It's so easy. The best thing that I appreciated about this, if you're doing, I mean, obviously, this would look amazing in 2 colours. If you did like this, 1 colour and the next vertical. Can you see how it makes like a kind of arrow? If you did that and that in 1 colour and then that and that in a different colour, it'd look really cool. Can you see what I mean? I can't see you, so I'm hoping you can see. How cool would that look? But if you're doing it with 20-gram scraps or 10-gram scraps, then the thing that I appreciated most about this was the designer had gone to great lengths to use as much of the yarn as possible, and I just so appreciated that. I only had between sort of 3 and 4 grams left at the end of each day, which was just enough to put into a granny square. So I managed to use my entire advent calendar, and I so appreciated it. I really did, because we spend all of this money on an advent calendar, or even if you've got scraps and you know, you're trying to use your scraps up and you're only using half of a scrap, so you're left with another scrap that you've got to use. I really appreciated that she'd gone to such lengths to use as much of the yarn as possible. It was such a good touch. It really was. And like I say, the pattern is just fabulous. I've had no problems whatsoever. Just beautiful. It's so squishy. So unbelievably squishy. So yeah, that was my advent project. There were a number of people in the Facebook group that also made this. I think I'd mentioned this a bit ago and then got sidetracked. So some of us made the 20-gram version and some of us made the 10-gram version. And I will say the 10-gram version I also want. This is huge and it's snuggly. It's not something that I would wear out, you know, as like a shawl scarf because it's so big. But I haven't taken this off since I finished it. I really have not taken this off. It is the perfect shawl to snuggle on the sofa with. So I would also like the 10-gram version so I can use it as a scarf because it's just so squishy. And the people in the Facebook group that have made the 10-gram version, it looks just amazing. It's just like a little baby, not a baby one. It's not that much smaller. It really isn't that much smaller. It's just a smaller version. So anyway, all that is to say that this year I will be making another of these and making the smaller version so I can wear it as a shawl scarf as well. And then I will have 2. I just absolutely love it. I really do. It was the perfect pattern. I think because during Vlogmas, well, I didn't take part in Vlogmas, during December, it is such a busy month. There is such a lot going on that sometimes, you know, you just need something that's easy that you can just pick up and know what you're doing. That's all you need, just to knit, you know, without having to think. And that's what this was. So yeah, love it, love it, love it. Right, so that's it for the finished objects. That's all I've got, but this is quite a special one. Right, but I do have some works in progress. So I'm going to show you the granny squares first that I've been making. Oh, I'm here. I haven't disappeared. So this is the box that our advent calendars came in this year, and I'm using the box for granny squares. So I want to make a granny square memory blanket, however long that's going to take. I really don't care how long it takes. I'm just going to enjoy making it. So there's no time frame on it at all. But what I'm doing is whenever I finish a project, I'm using what I can out of the yarn and I'm making an 8 round granny square. So I'm using a 3mm hook. So this is the yarn from the socks that I showed you earlier. A 3mm hook, and I'm just doing 8 rounds of a granny square, and I'm just going to keep on going until I've got enough granny squares to make a blanket. So these are the ones that I had previously. I think there are 12, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, there's 12 there. And then, of course, I had the scraps from the advent calendar. So I have another 12 here. So they're not in any order at all, but there is this one. This colourway was day 24, and it was a chameleon colourway. It was the most labour intensive colourway that we did, and we saved it for last and put it on day 24, and I'm so pleased with how it turned out. So that's that one. And then we've got this one. That one. So you can see that I had to use 2 days for each square. 2 days of scraps, advent scraps for each square. And I had just enough. I literally had a little length of yarn left at the end. That one. That one. That one. And what I've done is I've popped a little light bulb stitch marker on the right side. I don't know if you can see that there. So all my weaving's done on that side. So I know when it comes to join it, this is the right side of the work. All the ends are already woven in. I am not getting to the point where I've got ends to weave in. So all the ends are woven in, and there is a light bulb stitch marker on the right side of each granny square. And that's my favourite one. I love that one. It's my absolute favourite. The centre colour was a parrot. So yeah, that is all my granny squares. Somebody mentioned was it in the last episode, to maybe do a quarterly join, because it's going to get really overwhelming when it comes to joining them. And I think that's a really good idea. My only concern that I have with it is I want to be laying out all the squares at the end and choosing the colours where I put them. If I do a quarterly join, I'm going to eliminate that. So I'm still deciding what I want to do. I don't mind joining granny squares. I really, really don't mind joining granny squares. It doesn't bother me in the least. I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to join them normally or join them on a diagonal. I think I'm going to join them on a diagonal, I think. I don't know. I will see. Depends how many I get. I want at least 120 minimum. But if I can go bigger, I'll go bigger. So that is that one. Let me check my notes. I have got notes. Yep. Right, okay. Let me have a little drink of coffee. So my second finished object is my Christmas Day cast on. I got a Ko-fi donations from one of the lovely viewers who said, please buy yourself something special. And I'd been looking and looking and looking, and I looked at the Oakley Fair when I went with Karen, and there wasn't anything that I'd really seen, but I do love Crazy Zauberball. Absolutely love it, but it's a very pricey yarn and not something that I would ordinarily buy. So I used the Ko-fi donation to buy 2 balls of Crazy Zauberball. I've had the pattern for the painting brick shawl on my list forever. I've had it in my library forever, and I absolutely love it. So this yarn is completely gifted yarn. So one of them is from my friend Sue, which is this one, and this is what I'm using as the main colour. And then I bought, I think I've got one in the ball to show you actually. I've got one open and one in the ball. I bought 2 Crazy Zauberballs. I don't know what the colourway is. I'll just show you that. And this is what I'm using for the contrast colour. So I only started at Christmas Day, so there's not a great deal to see. And as usual, I'm all in a tangle. Here we go. Now, it is going to need blocking. Definitely going to need blocking, but this is how it's looking at the moment. It's curling quite a lot. So it's one of those that's definitely going to need blocking, but that's how it's looking. Isn't it looking beautiful? So I'll pop a picture on the screen now of what the painting brick shawl looks like. Is it the painting bricks or the painting honeycombs? I think it's the painting honeycombs. I get confused with the two because he does painting bricks and painting honeycombs. It's by Stephen West. And when I bought this pattern, I got the small version and the big version. I don't know if that's still the case. The small version, you start and you increase out. And the big version, you have to do the most ginormous I-cord. Now, I have started this pattern once before, a long while back, and I'd chosen completely the wrong colours. And I remember starting this I-cord. It's a 291 row I-cord, which it's not that it's difficult. An I-cord is not difficult. It just takes time. And then you've got to go along and pick up all the stitches along the I-cord. So it's a good couple of hours to cast this on. Oh, it is for me anyway. Maybe I'm just slow with an I-cord. It does take a couple of hours to cast on. So when it came to casting this on, because I'd started it once previously, I thought, I can't believe I'm doing this I-cord again. But I really want the shawl. And it's such a lovely pattern. Once you've got past that mammoth I-cord, it's easy. It's, there's nothing difficult. This here, if you've never done the honeycomb stitch before, it's one of my favourite knitting stitches. It really is. You're literally working with one yarn at a time. And this is just slip stitches. So you'll put a row in here and then you'll slip it here. So on this bit, you're only working on this colour. So it looks really effective, but it's so easy. So obviously I'm doing the large version. So I've cast on, I can't even open it out on the needles. So I've cast on the ginormous I-cord and I'm working off that. But the good thing about this is each row, well, no, not each row, every so many rows now is getting decreased by 8 stitches or something like that. So it's going to start getting much smaller. You can see decreasing like this. So it's just going to continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller. I absolutely love it. I really do. I'm using, obviously I've got 2 balls of yarn attached. You don't have to break the yarn in between each colour change. If you're just using, like I'm doing, this is my main colour, then I'm just using one yarn as the contrast colour. Obviously, if you're doing each of the honeycombs a different colour, you'd need to be breaking the yarn, but I'm not doing it that way. And what I do when I've got 2 yarns on the go is I pop one in a bag. It makes it so much easier and stops them tangling. My friend Sue sent me a few of these bags and I use them all the time for projects like this. So it just poppers shut. And then I have my other yarn in there. It's not rolling anywhere. It's not rolling off the sofa or anything like that. It's in the bag and it's secure, and it is so much easier when you're working with 2 balls of yarn. Whoops-a-daisy. So I'm just knitting away on this, really enjoying it. It's really easy, and yeah. So that is my first whip? I'm not counting anything that's long term. I'm not counting as a whip. So I'm allowing myself 3 whips at a go from this point forward. I don't know if you remember, but last year I got so overwhelmed with the amount of whips that I was doing. I really did. And I ended up having a huge frogathon. Was it in November, where I just took everything out of project bags and just frogged it because I became so overwhelmed. So I'm allowed 3 whips. Like I say, that does not include long-term project, although I am including socks in it. I wasn't going to include socks, but I am. So 3 whips is my max, and I won't cast anything else on until one of them is off. Then I can replace that one. And I feel much more comfortable with that. I've got my granny square blanket on the go, which is a long-term project. And I'm also starting the triangulum blanket by Ellie Jones. I'm going to be starting that the 4th of January, I think it is. And we're doing it with Knit Group. So all of us at Knit Group are making it. And I'm not classing that as a whip either, because it's just a long-term project. It's not something that I'm going to be working on every day. The aim for the triangulum blanket is to have that finished by the end of the year. There is no time limit on my granny square blanket. That is just making, every time I get a scrap of yarn left over from a project, I'm going to pop it into a granny square. Then it goes into the box and goes away. So it doesn't even enter, it's not something I sit down to work on. Do you know what I mean? So I'm only having 3 projects. That was a lot to say, I'm only having 3 projects. Anyway, I've cast on a pair of socks for Danny, which I've left over here. So this yarn was a gift. I got some yarn gifted to me just before Christmas, and oh, I was blown away. Blown away. I'm not going to mention names, but you know who you are. I haven't asked permission, so I'm not going to mention names. But I got 3 balls of this. I didn't even know you could get this. It's the King Cole Norse 4-ply, and it is beautiful. I got a blue version, a pink version, and a green version. So I am set for sock yarn for the foreseeable. And I cast on a pair of socks for Danny. And look how beautiful that's knitting up. Isn't it gorgeous? So for these socks for Danny, these are 68 stitches. If I'm doing a pattern sock for Danny, I tend to do 72 stitches. If I'm doing just a plain vanilla sock, I tend to do 68. Sometimes I might do 72, but either 68 or 72, it doesn't make that much of a difference to Danny. He doesn't like his socks tight. So sometimes if I know that it's going to be, he only has very narrow feet, but if I know it's going to be a pattern project, I will go up a few more stitches because he won't wear tight socks. But I absolutely adore how this is knitting up. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to put any contrast heels and toes in. I don't think I will. I think I'm just going to use the entire ball, but it's lovely. It's got really long colour repeats as well. So this one is called Thor. It's called Thor. Isn't that amazing? And it's 75% superwash wool and 25% polyamide, and it's 420 metres, so you get a lot of yardage on this sock yarn. I can't wait to do the pink one for me. But yeah, so I've cast on a pair of socks for Danny. There's not a lot to say about socks because I say the same thing about socks every single time, so I won't dawdle on that one too much, but he's really looking forward to them. I don't even know if he knows that I've cast them on, to be honest. I don't think he's seen me knitting on them, so I don't even think he knows I've cast them on. But yeah, anyway. And I have cast on one more project. So last year, I was watching, I can't remember what her name is. She's from the Knitty Stew podcast. She's got a very good podcast. I'm so bad with names. It's not because I'm being rude. I just can't remember names. I'm always the same. But I was watching her podcast and she had on a dickie. Now, if you can hear that noise, that's the dog snoring. If you don't know what a dickie is like something that you wear that looks like you've got a polo neck or a jumper underneath. You can get them quite small. If you watch Big Bang Theory, Howard wears them a lot. So you can get like little polo necks that are quite small, and it would just be a polo neck with a little bit of material at the front and back. So you put a jumper over and it looks like you've got a polo neck on. Now, you all know how much I struggle wearing a coat. I cannot wear a jumper underneath a coat. I absolutely can't, which then in turn means I don't wear jumpers very often because I can't be bothered to take a jumper off to put a coat on. So I end up walking around in t-shirts. Anyway, I was watching the Knitty Stew podcast. Let's try and get this back on track. And she had made this dickie, like a long line version. Now, I can't remember what the pattern was. It's a year since I saw this episode. and I fell in love with it. She had it on underneath a denim jacket and it looked like she had a wool jumper on, but it wasn't. It was a dickie. The dickie was full length at the front, and obviously at the back it only comes part way down, but it stops here, so you've no sleeves or anything. And I just fell in love with it, and I thought, that is perfect for me, absolutely perfect. So I went on to Ravelry and I had a look at all the different versions, and I've had this in my favourites ever since. It's called the Coffee Run Collar. Now, the name of the designer is absolutely eluding me now, but I'm going to put the name of the designer on the screen. So I've had this in my Ravelry since beginning of this year, possibly even longer than that. And the other day I thought, I'm going to cast it on. I'm absolutely going to cast it on. So it's a DK weight pattern. It is only one size. Now, I'll probably be able to give you more information when I've finished it. I did a gauge swatch. The pattern calls for a 4mm needle, and I didn't get gauge, so I've gone up to a 4.5. I suspect if you want it bigger, you could go up a yarn weight. So it's knitting DK. If you did an Aran or a worsted and a bigger size needle, you're going to get a bigger sized coffee run collar. But this is what I've got so far. So I just love this stitch pattern. So I'll pop a picture on the screen of what the actual pattern looks like. And this is mine. I just love it. I just absolutely love it. So this is actually the back. So I've got a few repeats of this to do, and then you do neck shaping. You pick up the collar last. So I'll do the neck shaping and then go down and do the front. The yarn I'm using is this one. This is the Sweater Weather. It's the DK yarn that we do. I can show you it in the skein. I did take this from the shop because it's been sat in the shop for 2-3 months. I needed 3 skeins, and there were just 3 skeins in the shop, so but nobody bought it. It's been sat there a while, so I thought I will use it. And this is how it's knitting up, and it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I'm really enjoying it. I really am enjoying it. I'm interested to see how I get on with the neckline shaping. I don't know if I'm going to struggle with that bit, but we shall just see when I get there. I've just done 1 full pattern repeat, and I've got another 2 to go, and then I'm into the neckline shaping, and then I'll move down the front. So the back is obviously much shorter than the front. The front would be full length, and the back, like I said, just comes to about there, just so it sits under your jacket. I'm so excited about this. I really am. And I just love how the yarn looks. So it's like my little stitch marker. That's a Christmas gift. Beautiful, isn't it? So yeah, that is that. I'm really enjoying it. I started it actually last night. I decided I was going to do it the other day, and then, you know, when you just can't be bothered winding yarn. I had the yarn sat on the table in front of me to start it. I think maybe 2-3 days ago, and I just couldn't face winding the yarn. And then yesterday afternoon I thought, right, I'm going to wind 2 skeins and then just do it and start this project. I'm so pleased I did. So that is my 3 works in progress that I have on the go. Nothing else at the moment, and I won't be casting on anything else until one of those is done. I think the painting bricks is going to be taking me the longest. I don't think that coffee run collar is going to take too long. The painting bricks is definitely, I've gone for the large, as I always do. I just love large shawls. I really do. But yeah, so that is all of my works in progress. I'm going to quickly run through what I got for Christmas. I can't show all the yarn because I've put most of it away now. But B, there's a lot, so I'm going to quickly show you what I got for Christmas. I was so very lucky, and Finn bought me this one. I love this yarn. I've had this one before. It's one of my favourites. This is James C. Brett Funny Feets. The colourway, I can't remember the colourway. The shade is FZB17. And it is one of my absolute favourites, is this one. My two favourite commercial sock yarns are three favourites. James C. Brett, King Cole and Opal. I love them. And they're the ones that I will use all the time. So Finn shows me that himself. So I have that. I had two. This one is from my friend Sue, which is some Felici. Felici now, I believe, has changed. It's now Filicini or something like that. I don't think I'll be buying it. I don't like the narrow stripes. I like proper Felici. So my friend Sue sent me this one. This is, I know there's colourways on here. Olive juice. Isn't it beautiful? So I got that one. That one's the Crazy Zower Ball I've just shown you. I'm not just ignoring that. I've already shown you that one. I got this one sent to me. Drops. Oh no, this one, I'm lying. This one. When I ordered the Crazy Zower Ball, I had to make the price up to £30 for free shipping from Wool Warehouse. So I ordered this one as well. It's Drops Fable. The colour is 623 and that's just pinks and greys. Yeah, that wasn't a gift. I just ordered that. And then for Christmas, my eldest son went to Wool Warehouse and got me all that. Honestly, bless him. So King Cole Zigzag. Oh, it's got a bit coming out the bottom there. I have enough sock yarn now to last me the year. That is the Hummingbird colourway. And then this one is Caterpillar. Oh my word. I love that name. That's Caterpillar. This one is Rose. And this one is Opal Beauty. I've not used this one before. I've always loved it. I keep seeing it. This is Beauty Wellness. I do love Opal yarn. That's the next one that I cast on. They're all 100 grams. I know that it's more Danny's colours, but I really, really like it. So I'm going to try and get a pair of socks for me and a pair of socks for Danny, if I can, out of this. If I can, I can't. But yeah. So I also got sock yarn from a couple of people sent to me in the post as well. Like I say, I've put most of it away. I have to keep all my yarn away because of all the cats and the dog. I don't like them getting hold of anything, so it's always put away. So I can't show you everything, but you will see it as I start knitting it. I did get a second advent calendar as well, if you can just see that. My friend Sue surprised me with an advent calendar, and it's a fade advent calendar. I've never had a fade before, and it was just lovely to open each day. I think I'm going to knit it as a fade as well. She sent me 20 gram minis for each day. Just there, and it's all pinks, purples and yellows and golds. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm still thinking about the Radvent cardigan by Amber O'Brien. I would still like to make it. When it comes to a garment, 4-ply and me and garments just don't mix. I really struggle with a 4-ply garment. So I don't know what I'm going to make with it yet, but I will make something special. And then I got one more thing, knitty related anyway. Danny bought me this. This is the Addy Click needle set, and it's the unicorn needles as well. So oops. Obviously I'm using one of them. The unicorn needles have these little grooves on them, which are supposed to be beneficial when you're knitting. I can't remember what it is, but it's supposed to help with your hands when you're knitting. But yeah, he bought me these. Aren't they gorgeous? Absolutely beautiful. So the Addy Clicks, it comes with cables as well. So it comes with three cables, and the difference between the Addy Clicks and say the Chow Goos or Lickay needles is you push the connector in and twist it, and that's it. You're not screwing it on. So it's supposed to eliminate the needles coming undone from the cables. I'm going to test them and see how well this works. Oh, hello Alexa. Oh, she's going to start speaking. I shouldn't have said that. But yeah, it was really easy to do. Really, I'm not sure. I was a little bit unsure on. I'd asked for these because I wanted to test them. So when I got them, I was a little bit unsure on how easy it would be to put these connectors into the needles. And I'm going to do a proper review on them after I've used them for a while, so I can give a proper review. But yeah, it was really easy, and it does, you just literally push the needle into the connector and twist and it's on. It feels like it shouldn't be that easy. So I'm going to test them for a month or two, and then I will do a proper review on these needles. Like I say, it's something that I'd asked for. I think I even ordered them and they gave them to Danny. But yeah, I want to do a proper review on these needles because they are quite a high-end price for needles. They start at 3.5, I think it is. Let me just have a look. Oh, I can't read it. I've not got my glasses on now. I think it's 3.5 the start at, and they go up to 8. So yeah, I'm going to do a proper review on them once I've used them for a little bit. So I've got those, and I must just show you this. Danny also bought me a Mickey Mouse watch. Isn't it amazing? Absolutely amazing. I love it. Absolutely love it. So good. Bought me that and Bop It. I love Bop It. Absolutely love Bop It. And I've already, because I get so addicted to Bop It, and we're all playing it on Christmas Day, and I got the high score of 68. And nobody could beat it. All Christmas Day, all Boxing Day, nobody could beat my high score. Danny couldn't even get past 20, I think it was. And then Josh came, me and Danny had gone to bed, and Josh came in about 11:30 at night when I've got 79. I'm like, no. So I got up the next day and I maxed the score out at 100. It's the Bop It with 2, you know, you just got twist it, pull it, bop it. So Danny said, I'm going to get you the one with flick it and spin it as well. So you'll have flick it, spin it, twist it, pull it and bop it. So I'm going to buy you that one and see how well you do with that one. I absolutely loved it. I have played Bop It all Christmas. I had an absolute blast. So yeah, that's everything for what's been incoming, what I've been up to. We just had such a lovely Christmas. We really, really did. We haven't seen Danny's kids yet. They're coming tomorrow. Well, Harry's coming tomorrow. Ruby's a teenager now. She's doing her own thing. So she's off, you know, with friends and one thing and another. So we just tend to have Harry more now. But he's coming tomorrow, so we'll do his Christmas tomorrow. And yeah, it was just such a lovely day. My eldest came round for the day. He's moved out, you know, and he's got his own house now. But his girlfriend, oh, poor Jazz, she was stuck at work. So he said, I'll come to you for Christmas, Mum, because Jazz is working. I felt so sorry for her. So he came over Christmas Day, and it was just lovely. We played games, we played Jenga, Monopoly. We had a lovely Christmas dinner. Josh was working, bless him. But we just had such a fabulous Christmas. I just need to show you this cat. I'm trying to be all professional, and this is what's behind me. Look at the state of Stuart. He sleeps in the most odd positions. He really does. I was trying not to look at him when I was talking to the camera, and in the end I just had to laugh. So I think that on that little wonderful note is everything. Danny's looking at me now. I always feel really awkward when somebody comes down and I'm filming. I don't know why.
You got the end, definitely when you just started. So.
No, I've been chatting for an hour. You've missed it all.
Oh.
It's got light while we've been filming, hasn't it? Because it was dark when I started filming.
You lucky people.
I bet the light's completely different now. Anyway, right, I'm going to go. I hope that you've all had a lovely holiday break. Whatever you've done, whatever you celebrate, I hope that you've just had a break. And if you're not one for Christmas, then we're nearly in the new year, so don't worry about it. I'm going to come back. I don't know what day. There's another video that I'd like to film before the end of the year. So I won't tell you what it is. I'm going to surprise you. So I'm going to come back probably Sunday. And then I think we've got a podcast before Birthday Bonanza starts as well. So let me know what you've all been working on. Don't forget, there's no shop update on the 1st of January. We're not doing one on the 1st because of Birthday Bonanza, and it's just after Christmas. First couple of years we did do an update, but it's a very slow update, so there's no point in us buying lots of stock in. Everybody's, all shopped out. I'm all shopped out.
I'm not.
So there'll be no update on the 1st of January, but we do have, I'm just going to tell you what it's called, and all will be revealed in Birthday Bonanza. But we have Birthday Bonanza party boxes, which will go on sale on the 9th of January. We'll talk about it on Birthday Bonanza. But have a wonderful, wonderful, I'll just say next few days, because I'm going to be back probably Sunday. But have a wonderful next few days, everybody. I will see you before the new year. And just happy crafting. Bye-bye.